Rube, how are you?
I'm doing well. I've got that holiday spirit,
Do you?
I guess. Yeah, sure.
You don't feel it, do you?
No, I do. I'm always in holiday spirit.
All right, yeah, it's fun. It really does sneak up on you when you're in the middle
Yeah.
of football season. You look up and it's December 23rd. Happy Festivus for those who celebrate. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast brought to you by Nissan. Reuben Frank and Dave Zangaro.
We're going to do airing of the grievances?
Maybe at the end we'll do some. I feel like we do that quite a bit.
We probably do.
On non-Festivus days, but
It's always Festivus, really. I think there's a little bit of Festivus.
that's a rare TV reference you picked up on pretty quick. I'm happy about that.
Well, it's not the most obscure show.
It's not, but
or reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the few that I watch religiously.
Well, I'm happy about that. We have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, Eagles-Bills coming up on Sunday afternoon. I think everyone's looking forward to that game. Really, the Eagles' final test before heading into the playoffs, which they will be going to the playoffs. They clinched that spot. We'll talk about some seeding things in a little bit. But Rube, as we got into the office today, Pro Bowl rosters were announced. The Eagles had 5 Pro Bowlers this year: Zack Baun, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Cam Jurgens, and Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah, once I, fought the blizzard of 25 driving down here through just piles and piles of snow. Yeah, and we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago. Like, there weren't a lot of slam dunk Pro Bowlers on this team, which is weird for a team that's, won its divisions, won 10 games, won the Super Bowl last year. They're just like, they have a lot of really good players that play well together. They really don't have anybody who statistically is having an incredible season. Maybe analytic wise with the corners, they are, but as far as interceptions, they're not. Yeah, there were no obvious snubs. I thought Jordan Davis should have gotten some consideration. Certainly had a better year than Jalen Carter. And Lane Johnson obviously has missed 5 games, but played at an all-pro level when he was out there. But 2 first-time guys, 2 first-time corners, and 3 guys who made it their second year in Baun, Cam, and
Carter.
And Jalen Carter. So Jalen Carter didn't have the same kind of year he had last year. Baun had about the same kind of year. Cam Jurgens, I don't think, had a very good year, in and out of the lineup at times. But a lot of this is, you kind of make the team based on what you did last year. Once you get that reputation, you could keep going for years. So it's kind of a weird deal. But certainly for defensive players, and I thought I was worried not worried, but I thought there was a chance they might only have 1 or 2. So that was good to see.
Yeah, it's an imperfect system, Pro Bowl voting. We know it. It is what it is. It's a third fan votes, third coaches, third players, and
only from your conference. So
only from your conference.
the guys who go against, so like the O linemen vote for the D linemen, et cetera.
Yeah, so it's imperfect, obviously, but it's something. It's they don't nail it all the time, but it is fun to see who got the recognition. If there weren't any snubs, it would kind of take a lot of the fun out of it for us talking about it. Let's take a moment here. We'll go through the Eagles players who did make the Pro Bowl, and then we'll talk about the biggest snub being Jordan Davis, certainly. Zack Baun, we've talked about him, that, I feel like maybe some of the big splash plays aren't there this year, but then you look at his numbers and you're like, oh, interceptions, sacks, tackles for loss. The one number that's not there this year that was there last year was forced fumbles, but he's playing at a really high level, and it seems like he's somehow become underrated again.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I was thinking about that. I think I told you last week, somebody asked me in an interview, whatever happened to Zack Baun? Like, I think last year it was so unexpected. It was so out of the blue that, he was one of the big stories in the league. To do what he did, make first team all pro, get the new contract in his first year at a new position and his first year here, it was an incredible story. Now, when it happens again, it's like, okay, he did it again. But I think he's played really, really well. And I think he's played, I'm comfortable saying he's played as well as last year, if not a little better, more consistently. And it's not like the big plays aren't there at all. He's got the same number of sacks, 3.5. He's got 1 more interception with 2. So First Eagles linebacker to make back-to-back Pro Bowls since and Trot Senior, and
Thanks for clarifying that.
there haven't been a ton of them. Uh, so I mean, it's been Willie T, Trot, and Seth. I mean, that's it in the modern era, which is basically since I started covering the team. Um, which you might make the case that's not entirely modern, but that's fair. But yeah, he deserved it, and we had that conversation about who the defensive MVP was, and I think you picked Q and I picked Jordan Davis, but you can sure make a case for Zack Baun. The consistency, the leadership, just being out there every single snap.
Yeah. Taking
Um,
over the green dot this year
yeah,
hasn't, that's something we don't really talk about anymore, but it matters.
yeah, yeah, and he's the way this defense has grown, and he's just been one of the, yeah, I guess just the steady, consistent pieces in there. He's got that contract, and he earned every penny of it.
Yeah, the two areas where the numbers are down this year, tackles for loss, he had 11 last year, he has 6 this year. And then the forced fumbles, kind of a crazy number last year, 5 forced fumbles. He has 1 this year. Some of those go hand in hand, obviously, but he's having a really good season.
Yeah.
After that, we'll go to Jalen Carter, who has missed some time. I don't think he had what a weird season for Jalen Carter. Before the year, we're talking about, man, he has another big year. They're going to back up that Brinks truck for this guy. And then he gets thrown out of a game before playing a single snap. And then he's dealing with some conditioning issues, and he's dealing with some injuries. Missed a game in the middle of all that with that foot injury in the Giants game in North Jersey, and now has missed the last few after having procedures on his shoulders. So it's kind of been a weird year. We know on talent he's certainly one of the best defensive tackles in the league, but I don't know if he's been able to put that on the field consistently this year.
Yeah, he hasn't. I mean, he just hasn't. I think it's been a disappointing season. I think that's fair to say. Um, he's been okay. He's been good, but with a guy like that, you expect more than that. And if he's going to get $40 million a year, I mean, he's just not hasn't earned that type of money. I don't think. Maybe he'll get it, but um, I mean, I just think there's a just a dominating player in there, and we just didn't really see that this year.
Yeah, I agree with that, but he's also one of those guys where when he is right, when he is healthy, like, yeah, of course, we
Yeah.
know we know how good he is. He's one of the best players in the league, for sure.
Yeah, he's just got to do it consistently. Hopefully, the shoulder issues are behind him. It was clearly bothering him throughout the year. Hopefully, the other stuff is behind him, and he can grow up a little and not get himself ejected before he plays a snap. Um, I
But
just
if you're gonna get ejected, that is objectively the funniest way to do it.
it is. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a dominating all pro type Hall of Fame caliber player in there that we've seen in stretches and we saw for much of last year, but need to see it more.
Cam Jurgens, this is just a purely reputation thing, right? Because I don't think anyone's watched Cam, and this is not even a knock. I think Cam would probably admit this. He has not played at a Pro Bowl level this year.
He hasn't. He's a guy that got a lot of notoriety for being the guy that followed Jason Kelsey when Kelsey retired and made a Pro Bowl last year and deserved it, made it this year and didn't deserve it. Yeah, I think he's getting healthy, but I still don't think he's played well. Um, yeah, and I agree. He would tell you the same thing. So usually you have to be a little older, a little more veteran, make a few more till you get it on reputation. But
Mhm.
this one surprised me. And look, I haven't studied the other NFC centers.
Yeah, Drew Dahlman is the starter.
Yeah, man, I watched Linderman yesterday. Gosh, he's incredible.
Linderbaum, right?
Linderbaum, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. Um,
He's one of the Pro Bowlers in the AFC, along with Creed Humphrey.
yeah, Creed Humphrey's terrific as well. Um, but yeah, you take it, and I think he knows he's got to be better next year and being healthy, and you hope he can get healthy and be 100% and that back not be an issue. Um, he's got to get back there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been all season where we're like, man, he just doesn't look like he did in 2024.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if we're going to see that level from him this year, but you hope that like in his future, he's got a long career ahead of him. You would hope that he can get back to that level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's playing any better than he was. I mean, I don't think he played well on Saturday.
Mhm.
Um, the main thing is being healthy for the playoffs and getting back at least close to where he was last year. We'll see if he can do that.
All right, let's get to the fun part of this.
Yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean making their first Pro Bowls in their second seasons with the Eagles. I mean, these are two core pieces, building block type players.
Yeah, the first corners, how he's drafted to make a Pro Bowl. So that kind of, he can kind of check that box. Um, they both deserved it so much. And I really had my doubts about Q just because he doesn't have any interceptions. Um, but then I started looking and like a bunch of guys have made it without any interceptions, including Namdi with the Raiders 2010, got him a contract. Oops. Um, our old friend Al Harris made it without any interceptions. But yeah, it's rare. And um, he's played at such a consistently high level that the interceptions, I mean, you'd like to see him, but it just doesn't matter. I mean, he is such a shutdown corner, like we haven't seen here. And they've had some good corners, but I mean, he's their best cornerback since Eric Allen. He just is like Asante and Lito. I mean, those guys were, they would get a lot of picks, but they would take a lot of chances and give up a lot of plays. Troy Vincent was very good for a long time. But as far as just shutting guys down,
Give a mention to Slay, who
Slay was,
got a couple Pro Bowls here.
he did. He got a bunch. But again, different kind of player. I mean, and he was kind of a high variance player as well, to an extent. But he was very good. He was very good when he was here. Um, but Q is just so sticky. I mean, you can't throw on him. And when he gives up a 12-yard pass, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? It's like a triumph for the other team. Um, so he deserves it. And um, man, he's only going to get better. I mean, he's better now than he was last year. And now we asked him the other day about the Pro Bowl. He's like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, I just want to play well next game and keep playing well and getting better. Um, and I believe him. Like everybody says they don't care, but I believe him. I don't think he does.
I'm glad you brought up Eric Allen because it's a fun note to this. He is the last Eagles cornerback within their first two seasons to make a Pro Bowl. That was in 1989. So, uh, pretty impressive feat for both Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. They are the first cornerback teammates from the Eagles to make the Pro Bowl in the same season since 2002. That was Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor.
Bobby Taylor drafted 95 out of Notre Dame. They're also the first corners the Eagles have drafted to make a Pro Bowl since Lito,
Mm-hmm.
who was drafted in '02,
Yeah.
right? And then made it in '04 and '06.
'06 was his last one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 19 years ago. And they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
And you're right that they've gotten better. Not only have they gotten better, but the team has asked more of them and they've gotten more from them. So in
Yeah.
Quinyon's case, he's now flipping side to side, tough duty, kind of living on an island on the boundary side. And then Cooper, obviously, playing early downs as an outside corner and then sliding inside to the nickel. And he's been, uh, I think, better than expected when he has to play outside. And then every bit as good as he was last year playing inside.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's an interesting point that Vic is. I mean, I guess those are things you wouldn't ask a rookie to
Mhm.
do, but they're not rookies anymore. And they've both handled the increased responsibilities beautifully. And
And it helps. Let's be honest. It helps get over the loss of Slay and having a CB2 who's not as good. Like both of the like Quinyon and Cooper are good enough that it's helped mask that a lot of the year.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And then I mean Cooper's 22. Is he the youngest Eagles Pro Bowler ever? Did you look that up?
Oh, I didn't look that up. That's a good question. Yeah.
Look that up. Um Man, I don't know. Roy Nell Young might have been 22. Look that up during the
At any position?
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll,
it's a good question.
we'll look it up when we have a moment.
I have the search in front of me, so I can just look it up right now. There are a few 22-year-olds actually.
Okay.
He's now one of them. Billy Ray Barnes,
Billy Ray.
Maxie Baun was 22 in 1960. Davy O'Brien in 1939.
Had a terrible year, but made it anyway.
Charlie Charlie Young in 73. And Cody Parkey, the most recent one, in
Interesting.
2014.
Is he around? Yeah, it's a short list though.
Yeah.
Um, so is he the youngest defensive Pro Bowler since Maxey? Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Good for him. You forget that he's 22.
Turned 22 on the Super Bowl.
He did.
Yeah.
He turned 22 during his pick six.
Well, the crazy thing is like it's such a peak for a young player. Pick six in the Super Bowl on your 22nd birthday. He's been better.
He has, and I like what he said. I mean, he probably said it after the game, but he said it throughout training camp. Like, I don't want to be defined by that play.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. It was fun. Gosh, it was incredible. That was an incredible moment because that was really. I mean, that it wasn't quite the dagger. I think the Devontae touchdown was the dagger, but that really kind of gave them so much momentum and just took the heart out of the Chiefs. But to be 22 and be this poised and steady and consistent and intelligent and motivated. I mean, both those guys worked they work so hard and you know, you ask anybody about them and that's the first thing you hear. They're just grinders. It's just a cool story that they came in together, became starters together. Cooper was a little behind because he was hurt. He missed the first month last year. Now they make their first Pro Bowls together. It's awesome.
Very cool. Let's get to the snub. Jordan Davis is just a snub. There were some alternates. He wasn't even an alternate.
Let me go through the alternates real quick because I believe they are right here. So Jalen Phillips somehow was a second alternate, only played 7 games in the NFC. So so the NFC guys voted for him as a second alternate. He's got 1 sack, 2 sacks?
1 sack.
He's played okay. He's been good, but I don't get that. I don't know how that happened. Dallas Goedert and Saquon were third alternates. Dallas is having a hell of a year. Just doesn't have the pure numbers, and he won't in this offense playing with Devontae and AJ. He's got the 10 touchdowns. He's tied with the dude in Arizona for most touchdowns by tight end, McBride. Saquon, third alternate. Says a lot considering when they voted. I mean, he was not having a good year. He's kind of, he's come to life a little bit the last month or so. Keely Ringo made it also, another cornerback. Made it as a special teamer.
Fourth alternate.
And Jalen Hurts, fifth alternate, which is kind of embarrassing, but he's played better than that. But yeah. So Jordan Davis wasn't even an alternate.
Yeah, I don't understand it. He's having such a good year, and we all see it here. Maybe it's people haven't seen it nationally. I don't know though. Like he's playing at such a high level. Looking at his numbers here, he has 4.5 sacks, 65 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hits, 6 pass breakups from the defensive tackle position.
And all those numbers, other than tackles, are more than he had in his first 3 years combined. I mean, he's been one of the best interior linemen in the league, and he's been so clearly better than his former college teammate, who did make it. Reputation is such a big part of it, and I think Jordan Davis just has this reputation of being an underachiever as the 13th pick because of his first 3 years, and he did underachieve. He didn't play many snaps, he didn't make any big plays, he wasn't rushing the passer up until the postseason last year, wasn't getting sacks. And I think he just developed a reputation. Oh, Jordan Davis, yeah, he was a bust. He's not a bust. He's a really, really good player. And I know he won't be disappointed, or at least he won't, he's such a team guy. But that's just such a big snub.
Yeah, and I have a rule, like if you're gonna call someone a snub, you better be willing to take someone off that list, right? Like sometimes
take Jalen Carter right off.
Yeah, and in this case, like that's what makes it to me a legitimate snub because I think he deserves it over Jalen Carter, who by the way is voted as the starter.
Yeah.
So the top guy. Quinnon Williams,
Hopefully, he doesn't spit on anybody in the skills competition.
uh, Quinnon Williams and Leonard Williams are the other two
And
defensive
Leonard
tackles.
Williams had another really, really good year for Seattle. But Quinton Williams, how many games did he play for Dallas?
Yeah, not many.
7?
Half his season. And Jordan Davis has at least better numbers than him, which, look, I'm not saying that Jordan Davis is a better player than Quinton Williams or Jalen Carter, but I think he's having a better season than both of them and is
Okay.
more deserving of this honor than both of them.
Quinton Williams played 5 games for the Cowboys. You remember because he was hurt when they got him
Hmm.
from the Jets? Played 5 games, 1.5 sacks. He's got 16 tackles. I don't get it. And I think he's played okay,
Yeah,
but
he's good. He's a very good player.
Jordan Davis is so much more deserving. But again, Quinton Williams made 3 Pro Bowls with the Jets. He's got that reputation. He was a higher pick. He was a top 5 pick, right?
Hmm.
Um,
And he's a really good player. And like that's the thing. It's not even like we're saying Jordan Davis is better than Quinton Williams or Jordan Davis is better
it's just who's
than
more deserving.
Jalen Carter. Yeah, it's who's more deserving this season,
Yeah.
and I think he clearly is.
Yep.
Anyone else you think got snubbed?
I think Lane is in the conversation. Again, he only played 10 games, but Quinton Williams played 5 games
Mhm.
in the NFC. So I mean, he probably only played how many he played for the Jets? 7, 8. So, but to me, Lane Johnson is still one of the, if not the best, one of the 2 or 3 best in the conference. And guys have made it before. Evan Mathis made the Pro Bowl playing 9 games.
Yeah, but then again,
Jalen Carter made it playing 10 games. So
Mhm.
why can't Lane Johnson make it? And he's been incredible. He's played a hell of a lot better at right tackle than Jalen Carter has played at interior line.
Yeah, not in the vacuum though. There are other that's
Yeah.
how this works.
Yeah.
So you look at the offensive tackles in the NFC who made it: Penei Sewell, Trent Williams, and here's where it gets tricky for me: Tristan Wirfs, who has played 11 games this year, missed the beginning of the season. So, uh, yeah, I think Lane is deserving of it.
Yeah. I do too. And
Like those other guys are very good, and I think it's like it's hard to really make a super strong case for a guy who's missed over a month, but I think he played at that level.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I think those are the only snubs. Um, Dallas Goedert's got like the 3rd most catches in history by a tight end who never made a Pro Bowl.
Okay.
And Brent Selleck is like 4th on that list. But yeah, I don't know. He's never going to make a Pro Bowl as long as he's here. Just he won't have the volume. Like, I mean, he'll never catch 90 balls, like some of these guys. But I'll take him on my team any day.
All right, I think we've talked about the Pro Bowl
Yes.
long enough. Let's talk about where the Eagles are in the NFC, what they have to play for. I know Nick Sirianni was asked after the game about potentially resting players. They're not going to rest anyone for this Buffalo game. That will be crazy. They still have an opportunity to get up higher, and they also have an opportunity to slide down. So right now in the NFC, they are 3rd, but they're not locked into that spot. The 1 seed is out of the question at this point. They cannot get the 1 seed after the 49ers win on Monday Night Football.
Now there's still, well, I guess the Bears, Rams, Niners, and Seahawks are all, they would be the 4 teams that could still get the 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seattle will be, but anyway.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. So right now, this is how it looks in the NFC. Seahawks are the 1 seed. Bears are the 2 seed. Eagles are the 3 seed. 49ers are the 5th seed. Rams are the 6th seed. I went in that order, skipped 4 because the Panthers have not yet clinched that division, and they might not clinch that division. I still think Tampa is probably going to win that.
Do you?
Yeah, whichever team ends up winning the NFC South will be the 4 seed. And then right now, the Packers looking very likely to sneak into the playoffs as that final wild card team.
Well, can we look at the Carolina and Tampa schedules real quick?
Sure.
Oh, they play each other last day of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So Tampa has the Dolphins, so they'll win that game. And then
Panthers have the Seahawks.
um, Carolina has the Seahawks, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said Tampa has the Seahawks.
Panthers, I said.
Oh, um, yeah, yeah, and Tampa has the Dolphins. Yeah, so who would you rather play?
of those two teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Tampa's lost 6 of their last 7.
Yeah, they're really floundering right now.
Um, I don't think Carolina's any good. They've lost 4 of their last 7. Um, yeah, definitely the weakest
Yeah, I don't
division.
really care to talk about the NFC South anymore.
I'm just curious.
Okay, so here's the situation for the Eagles. Um, Most likely they're going to end up with that third seed, right? The athletics model has them 87% right now to end up in that third seed. The reason the fourth seed probably isn't going to happen, they would need to lose out and the Panthers would need to win out. And we just talked about the Panthers' schedule and how tough that is. They have Seattle and then Tampa, so it's unlikely that they're going to win out. So that's why it's very unlikely the fourth seed. The second seed is still a possibility. The easiest route to that, and the one that is the most likely, would be the Eagles win out. So they beat the Bills, they beat the Commanders, and the Bears lose out.
Bears have the Niners in Santa Clara and then the Lions the last day of the season at home. I
Mhm.
believe it's at home.
So not out of the question.
Not out of the question.
The Athletic has them at a 13% chance to get the two seed.
And that's not insignificant. That's why you have to play your starters. You have to try to win the game. Um, the Lions have not been eliminated, have they?
No,
So by then they might have been, but who do they play? Before the
Pittsburgh.
Bears, they play the Vikings. I didn't really. They've really fallen apart. Still score a lot of points, but that defense is brutal. Um, that the Eagles scored 16 whole points against. um, yeah, you have to play everybody until you are locked into 3 or 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to play everybody.
Now there's a chance they will know by week 18, but we'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah,
get to it. I mean, it's like talking about it this week. Yeah, they're going to play this week. They have to try to play. And there's a chance that the Bears lose. And if you go into week 18 with that scenario, like I think you got to play them in week 18
I
too.
do
And
too.
then it gets really tricky because it's like the rest would absolutely help, certainly at some positions. But
And then,
to me, the two seed is worth it because it guarantees you 2 home games if you keep advancing.
yeah, I think that's huge. This is a team that's won 1 road playoff game in the last 17 years. Um, you want to be at the link if you have any
And that's not
chance.
saying I don't think this team can travel. I think they can, but
Sure, they've
yeah.
won some big road games this year, but if you have a 7% chance, whatever it is, of being at home,
And especially now because the Rams, after the 49ers won on Monday night, the Rams are now the 6th seed.
yeah,
I don't think you want to face the Rams.
yeah,
Even though the Eagles have had their way with them, they've beaten them. That was a team that came as close as anyone to knocking them out last year. A team that was the 1 seed not that long ago. That's a good team.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth trying to get up to the 2 if you can.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not that out of the question, and it could come down to the last day of the season, January 4th. It could come down to in the middle of the game. All right, we're not going to get this. Put the backups in and at least get the starters some rest. You could be playing that Saturday, so um,
Well, typically what they do in week 18 is they line up the games that matter
yeah,
with each other.
yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
okay.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that the following Saturday, wild card weekend.
Oh, okay.
So just as far as getting rest and getting the guys off their feet, but winning's got to be the biggest priority. That rest stuff. And look, if somebody's not healthy, you don't play them. If somebody really needs that week, you get someone else in there. But yeah, you got to try to win.
So that's where they stand right now. We'll keep watching that. But yeah, I expect them to fully play all their starters and try to win this game, which will not be easy on Sunday. We'll get into that a little bit later in this podcast and then at length in the next pod. But we did want to have a Jake Elliott conversation. Nick Sirianni was asked a couple questions about Jake in his Monday virtual press conference. They said they're not bringing in any other kickers. They're going to stick with Jake. He has confidence that he'll figure it out and we'll get better after all this. But, it is a legitimate concern as you're going into the playoffs and you're probably going to play some close games.
Yeah, it really is. As bad as he's been, and really right now he's the worst kicker in the league, um, because the only guy with a worse percentage over the last 2 years is a guy that's not on a roster um, right now. So I still wouldn't make a change because I think your best chance, I think you have a better chance of him figuring it out and making his kicks than bringing in some guy off the street um, that you don't know, that hasn't been part of this team, and hoping he makes some high leverage kicks. I just, as bad as he's been, I think your best bet is to hope he figures it out. I think you have a better chance of him figuring it out than a guy off the street coming in and making kicks
Yeah, I agree with you for this year. Like,
for this year.
yeah, now
Sure.
after the season, I think you owe it to the especially if it doesn't get better. Now, look, if if he is lights out in the playoffs and makes all his kicks and they make a deep run, like maybe he keeps his job.
It's kind of
But
what happened last year.
yeah,
I mean, he missed one, I think.
yeah, he was 10 of 11 in the playoffs last year, but made all four in the Super Bowl. Did miss a few point after attempts,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean he was better in the playoffs last year than he was the regular season, so that's not out of the question.
He's the second most accurate postseason kicker ever,
Yeah, and then you get to yeah, he's missed one. I
and
think
then the least accurate regular season
yeah.
kicker.
Yeah, the only guys who are less accurate than him this year have been cut by their
Yeah,
teams. So it's yeah, he's like he's performed poorly enough to get cut, but I also think he's built up equity
a lot of it.
and the chances of you finding someone better aren't great.
Yeah. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is get into that, bringing in Dale Dawson, bringing in Dean Dorsey. You don't remember those days, do you?
I,
Eagles had like four
I
kickers
do
one
not.
year, including Dale Dawson, who came in and missed like a 12-yard field goal. They cut him. Then they brought in Dean Dorsey, who is from Canada and had played junior hockey with Wayne Gretzky. And the day he came in, we had this long interview with him. He talked about playing with Gretzky. Then he missed like a 12-yard field goal. They cut him. And I think that's when they might have signed Roger Ruzick at that point. But yeah, I think Rich Hoffman, the great columnist from the Daily News, once called it the Zendejas of the Month Club, which is just a great line. But um, you don't want that. That's the last thing you want going into crunch time is, well, who else is out there?
Mhm.
And I'm sure they have a short list, but I think it's notable that Nick said they're not bringing anybody in. So we go with Jake.
You look at his last 2 years, and that's to me what's more troubling. If it
Yeah.
was a one-off year, because he had a bad one-off year in 2020. He was not very good that year, 73.7%. He followed it up with his best season. He was a Pro Bowler the following year. So if that was the only evidence, you go, well, yeah, like let him see this through, and there's a chance he gets much better. But this is not 2 years in a row where he's just not playing at that level, and that to me is more concerning.
Yeah. He's first Eagles kicker to be under 78% in back-to-back years since Chris Bonesy, in 97 and 98. Yeah, it's scary. I think every time he lines up for a kick, you kind of expect him to miss right now.
Yeah.
That's not a good place to be.
It's funny. What did you think when he misses the 57? They get the penalty, then they don't really. I mean, that whole end of half sequence was maddening, but just the kicking portion of it, I thought he was going to make the 52-yarder
I
because like normally, like you
I
you
know.
see a kicker miss a little bit, like they're so good and they tweak
Just
it
make an
and they come
adjustment.
back and they make the next one. Like to see him miss it in the same way is like, oh, he doesn't have the answers right now.
Every time he goes up to kick, I think he's going to miss. That's just how I feel right now. Oh, yeah, he guys missed 7 field goals in the last 9 games. Cameron Dickers missed 8 field goals in his life, in 3 seasons. Um, yeah, it's scary, but I think they're doing the right thing.
I agree with that too. And Nick talked about, trying to build players up. Like I think that's the only thing you can do is like try to show them that you have faith in them, even though your actions are going to say otherwise. And we already saw that in the game, them turning down long field goal opportunities and keeping the offense on the field. Like Jake knows that. Jake can do the math. Jake can say like
Is that a little
that was
Andy
not
Reid
an
reference?
Andy reference. But like he can see like, oh, this would be a 52-yard field goal, and they're keeping the offense on the field on 4th and 4. that's probably because I'm not playing well right
Yeah.
now. You know, like he knows it, and I think it's a tough. You have to say the right things and you have to try to build them up, but your actions speak way louder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get your early thoughts on the Bills, and then, as you can imagine, we have a bunch of questions to get to as well.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
Need some holiday gift inspiration? Escape the cold and catch the Phillies in Clearwater with NBC Sports Philadelphia and Philly Sports Trips. We're teaming up to bring fans the most unforgettable Phillies spring training experience yet. This trip includes Phillies game tickets, beachfront accommodations, round-trip travel, all-inclusive tailgates, and more. Plus appearances from Larry Bella, Charlie Manuel, and NBC Sports Philadelphia's own Ben Davis. Book your trip today at phillysportstrips.com.
Right. Now, are we going to do 3 podcasts from down there or just 2?
I would love to go down this to spring training. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Let's see if we can plant the idea.
Have an Eagles Q&A in Clearwater?
I mean,
why not?
Phillies fans are Eagles fans.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is a fun game on Sunday.
It is.
And, you know, whenever there's a good game late in the season, my biggest fear is that it won't be a good game by the time we get there. We've seen that so many times. Heck, these 2 Commanders games,
right,
early in the schedule comes out and you're going, man, I hope they matter. And
we said they probably wouldn't.
They probably wouldn't, and we're right. This is still a good game. This is Bills, Eagles, an 11-win team versus a 10-win team. 2, obviously different conferences, but 2 of the favorites to come out of their respective conferences. I'm looking forward to this. Bills are 2.5-point favorites as of this recording.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And, you know, it was great that they beat the Raiders 31-0. It was great that they beat the Commanders by double digits, but they're 2 of the worst teams in football. So I want to see this team as their current look. They've done a lot of things better as, you know, over the last few weeks. They're moving the ball. The defense has really found something. They're doing a lot of different things on offense. They're running the ball better. But I want to see it against a good team before I'm ready to declare that they're some sort of, you know, Super Bowl contender. And this is a great measuring stick. The Bills need the game. Eagles need the game. It's going to be cold. I love that. It's such a shame they're taking. When does the new stadium open there? I guess it's right next door.
Yeah.
So you'll see that construction, I guess.
What were you about to say is a shame?
Just that they're leaving that stadium.
That's not a shame.
I like that stadium.
They need to leave that stadium.
Well, because they don't have suites.
It's an old stadium.
But it's a beautiful stadium. I like it. Anyway, how about the Chiefs moving to Kansas?
Yeah,
that's interesting news. They have one bad year and they're just moving out of town,
leaving town.
But yeah, I want to see how they respond, especially this defense that's looked so good lately against that offense, which is, man, they're so good, and that's the intriguing matchup to me. The other matchup, like the Bills' defense, isn't special, so I want to see the offense certainly have another productive day. 3 straight games they've been over 365 net yards, which is encouraging. But the matchup I really want to see is that offense, that Bills offense versus this defense.
Yeah, that's primetime television right there, even though it's not in primetime. It's late window. But it's Josh Allen, reigning MVP, so good at everything. He's a magician out there, but his running ability is something to watch in this game. We'll get into matchups later in the week.
Over 500 rushing yards.
Yeah, his numbers last year in his MVP season to this year, basically the same. He has more picks this year.
Yeah.
But like everything else is almost exactly the same. He's still playing at such a high level. They did not have a convincing win over the Browns. They let them back in that game. They ended up winning 23-20.
Which was interesting. But they did win. They did win it, but maybe the Eagles saw some things they can take advantage of in that game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I don't think Buffalo's going to, win this thing by double digits. I think it's going to be a close competitive game. Might come down to a field goal attempt. Bills are so well coached. Sean McDermott, who was here for a long time. secondary coach. He was linebackers coach, and then he was DC after Jim passed away. Um, Went down to Carolina with Ron Rivera and then got this job. And I think he's done a really good job, but he hasn't gotten to a Super Bowl and kind of been blocked by the Chiefs and his former boss. So this is a huge game. This is a huge stretch. I don't know how you feel. I mean, between the Patriots, Broncos, and Bills, who you think the best team in the AFC is, but I think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. I think they're that good.
No, the problem for them is right now they are sitting that 6th seed.
Yeah.
They are behind the Patriots in their own division, so they still have plenty to play for,
Yep.
which makes it a lot of fun. We don't have to get too deep into the matchups of this one, but gosh, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And I'm actually looking forward to doing matchups on Thursday.
Yeah. We'll get to that later in the week, but I did want to leave plenty of time today for questions because we have a ton of them. We'll go ahead and throw the email up there on the screen. It's eagleeye@nbcuni.com. QR code is up there for you guys. Let's get into it. Different ranges of opinion in these. Starting off with Kenny. Hey guys, not a question here, but a statement. It's time to move on from Jake. I'll forever love the guy, but he ain't got it anymore. Draft the best kicker available come April. He might just cost us this game today. Thanks for always putting on a show. So this was an email during the game. We got, flooded with Jake Elliott emails, and I get it. It's you're looking at, man, what might cost them a game in January, and it's hard to not think the kicker might.
Yeah. He's such a different situation, though, because he's been so good for so long. Has had down points, but has always rebounded from them. You know, the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, his performance was as a rookie, made a 42 and a 46 against the Patriots. I mean, that was in that game. That game was so close. Those two kicks were huge, as high leverage as you can get, and they weren't super long, but he's a rookie. Um, kicking in the biggest game in the world. And then he's just been money for so long. So I think it's just a little more complicated than most teams when you have a struggling kicker.
He's played in 3 Super Bowls. He's 9 for 9
Yeah.
in those games.
Yeah. And what is do you have in front of him what he is all time in the postseason?
26 of 27.
You can't ignore that. But that doesn't mean he's going to make them all this year in the postseason.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky thing. And look, if he was some undrafted guy that had bounced around training camps and came in August and played like this, he wouldn't be here.
Mm-mm.
But he's Jake Elliott, and he gets.
Yeah, he's built up the equity, and
Yeah.
it's true. He's had that level of success. Now, I think sometimes you can be a little foolish as a GM or as an organization by banking on past performance, but yeah, I understand why they've let it go this long.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Next one is from Michael, sent at halftime. Can you explain the logic with their attempts to draw offsides? Both attempts in the first half were so weak and seemed unlikely to fool anyone. The one just before the half was terrible and required using a timeout needlessly. It seemed innocuous, but after the penalty, that timeout would have been really important. Well, totally agree. That end of half sequence was one of the worst we've seen all year, and we've
Yeah.
seen some bad ones.
We really have.
Like from being super lackadaisical as they got the ball, which why are you worried about the Commanders getting the football back? Yeah. And then drawing them off sides, it's Nick's thing. He loves that more than anything else in the world. And it works every once in a while. And when it works, you just think, uh-oh, this restarts the timer for when they're never going to use it again because he has anecdotal evidence to point at and say, see, that does work.
I think if you're in a position where a delay a game isn't going to hurt the punter, like the punter still can easily get it inside the 20, I'm okay with it. But if you have to take a timeout or a delay would, really hurt the punter's ability to, get it inside the 20 or inside the 15, then I mean, what is it, a 5% play? Not even. And, some teams are more susceptible, some players. So if you have, if you're facing a team that has a tendency to get impatient and jump, maybe you do it. But it does seem like a waste of time most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it's like everyone in the stadium knows
Now,
exactly what's happening.
I do think if you have a coach that goes for it on fourth down a lot, and you can kind of have that seed of doubt in the defense, you know, like if you're playing the Lions, I mean, he could go for it on 4th and 20. Um, so you kind of have to be a little more aware, but I'm not sure it makes a big difference.
I mean, he did it on the first possession of the Commanders game.
Yeah.
They got into a 4th and 1, and he sends him out there before taking a delay game. And as he's doing, I'm like, they're not running the play here.
Yeah.
If I know they're not running the play, the Commanders know. And if you're going to do that, like, wouldn't that be the time to at least like show the tush push?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I totally agree with the email. He's not going to stop it.
No,
He loves doing it.
he does.
From David. Dear Dave and Reuben, I really enjoy the podcast. It's informative and entertaining.
Thank you.
Why did the Eagles not re sign Kenny Gainwell? He's an excellent receiver out of the backfield and a good change of pace rushing. The Eagles have zero pass catching threat out of the backfield, and Will Shipley isn't even good on special teams. I can't imagine this was a salary cap issue. Gainwell is having a nice year for Pittsburgh. Thoughts?
He wanted to play more, and it wasn't going to happen here with Saquon. And, I mean, I had some long talks with Kenny last year about his future, and look, it's always about money, but I mean, he's making close to that minimum, which Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers
Aaron
keeps
Rodgers
pointing
told
out.
everybody.
He keeps mentioning that. You don't need Spotrac for that. Just listen to Aaron Rodgers pressers. But he wanted to play, and he's getting to play more there than he would have here. And I know Saquon thought a lot of him, but look, he's 5 years into his career now, and I mean, he's had by far the most touches, most scrimmage yards that he's ever had. So I get that. He wanted to play. I'm sure they would have signed him for the minimum, I assume. He's better. I mean, but I mean, if it's AJ Dillon or Kenny Gainwell, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. But at the time, like they did draft Will Shipley in the 4th round, and you got to try to get younger in certain places. It doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Like we see it on defense. It seems to work all the time for them on that side of the football, but not all the time, I guess, but a lot of the times it's not going to hit all the time. And I understand the idea of like, well, you have this young guy you drafted, give him a chance to be that role, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it hasn't. I'm surprised at how little he has played, but Gainwell's on a 1-year deal, and he kind of went there to prove himself, and he's going to get a lot of money. I remember having this conversation with you back during free agency, like, could he be an every down back? Can he be a starting back in this league? And I remember thinking like he could be. I think he'd be a functional guy, but maybe not a star. But he's really improved his value. I mean, they never really threw to him that much. He's got like 60 catches out there in Pittsburgh. So I'm curious to see where he goes, how much he gets, and what kind of role he carves out, because he really has been the last 2 weeks, he's got like 250 scrimmage yards.
Yeah. Looking at his numbers here, he has 102 attempts, 501 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. He has 62 catches for 410 yards and another 3 touchdowns. And then obviously one of the highlight reel plays of the NFL this year. That was unbelievable.
Unbelievable catch. So he's going to have 1,000 scrimmage yards in limited touches.
Yeah, 164 touches.
And what's he up to? 9:15?
9:11.
Sorry, I was off by 4, Dave. I know you're disappointed in me.
He asked me. I told you.
Yeah. Yeah, good for him. Good dude.
Now, where do you, Nick, and Aaron meet for the Kenny Gainwell fan club? Do you have to go to Pittsburgh now because Rodgers is out there, or does Rodgers come to you and Sirianni?
We meet halfway in Breezewood.
Okay, nice. Next one here from Darren. Teams seem to be stopping the tush push to the point where it's less effective than a normal quarterback sneak. Is it still worth running? Thanks for keeping the standard the standard.
Yeah, the Eagles might vote against, keeping it at this rate.
It's going to make it across the board.
Everybody else in the NFC is going to vote to keep it because the Eagles are so bad at it. It does seem like teams have kind of figured some things out. I also think like Landon's injuries and Cam's injuries haven't helped.
I think it's a mixture of things. I think those injuries up front haven't helped. I think teams have figured out better ways to defend it, which the Eagles have actually changed their formation based on that.
Yeah.
And then I think the refs are calling it tighter
Yeah.
and inconsistently tighter,
Yeah. That's
which
true.
makes it really like if they were calling it consistently the same way, you could figure out where the line is. But I think they've been kind of inconsistent with how they call it, and that makes it tough.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens because it's
I did not expect this, by the way.
I didn't either.
I thought maybe there'd be some regression with that play. I never thought we'd be talking about it like they line up on a 4th and short now, and you go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen
It
here.
used to be just a gimme. Yeah, teams are finding ways to knock out the ball. Um, Seems like teams are grabbing Jalen's legs like early in the play instead of going for
Yeah. Well, the thing I've noticed most is that like they're pinching on. So like when the initial ways people tried to stop the play was just like load up front and try to stop that push. Now they're coming around the edges, knocking off the pushers and trying to strip the ball free.
yeah.
It makes sense, and it is part of what makes this game fun is that like it took 2 years, but eventually defenses figured out a way they could stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what happens on Sunday in Buffalo if they're in one of those 4th and 1s or 4th and inches or on the goal line.
Yeah. Now it's and the funny thing is like it doesn't even just change how you call that down. I think for a while, and I didn't like this about the Eagles offense, but I think for a while they were operating on get us to 4th and 1. It felt that way at times.
Yeah.
Like you weren't trying to get the first down on 3rd down. If you get 5 yards on a 3rd and 6, it's automatic you're going to get it on 4th down. So I think it does change the way they call early downs now too.
Yeah. It seems that way.
From Harrison, who there's like glass half empty, glass half full. His glass is shattered on the floor right now.
Harrison, come on now.
Wow. Without the Zebras, this game is not a win. 2 PIs that totally flipped the game for the Eagles' favor. The offensive line is absolute garbage right now. Nobody seems to want to finish blocks and get nasty. Oh, until it's after the play and just an embarrassment for the team. This team will be one and done in the playoffs as badly as I hoped for a repeat. Will have to be real. It's not going to happen. We are at the level of the 2007 Bears now. Great defense and just a horrid offense. Do you both really think this team has what it takes? If you do, you sound like a couple of homers to me. KP is still the worst. Happy
Wow.
holidays.
Yeah. His glass.
Harrison, man, I hope everything's all right. I understand they haven't had a great season, but they just clinched a playoff spot. They won a couple of games. Their offense looks a little more functional the last 2 weeks. I understand if you're skeptical about how far this team is going to go. I think that is still fair, but to be all doom and gloom right now, I think is off base.
The 2007 Bears? That's the oddest comparison I've ever heard. They were 16th in defense and 18th in offense, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. But yeah, look, I have concerns. If I had to guess right now, I would say they're not going to the Super Bowl, but they're 10-5. They won the division. I think they're trending in the right way in a lot of key areas. And we'll see, by 7:30 or 8 o'clock on Sunday, I think we'll have a much better idea of where they are.
I totally agree. And I still think that against most teams in the league, the Eagles go out there, they are more talented. Like that still matters. And I
Yeah.
understand that their offense has been a complete train wreck for a lot of the season, but you also look around the NFC and it's not like where's the juggernaut? Is there
I
a team
mean,
that they just can't beat?
the Niners look really good. Seattle looks really good. Two teams they haven't played
Mhm.
this year. And
For a while, it looked like the Rams,
yeah, I have my doubts
who they've already beaten.
who they've beaten. Um,
Packers are going to be in; they've already beaten.
yeah, no, I
Whoever makes it from the South doesn't scare you. So
sure.
we're really like you're worried about the Seahawks and Sam Darnold in the playoffs. Like I don't think any of these teams is like unbeatable in the playoffs. So I think that matters. It's not just you're not just looking at one team in a vacuum and saying that team's not good enough. You got to look around and say, well, what team is? Like what team is
Yeah.
infallible? And I don't think there is one.
And as far as being one and done, I'd be surprised if they don't win in the wild card round.
Yeah.
They're going to be at home.
Might pull a tough draw.
Might pull a tough draw. They're going to be at home. They're going to be favored. The crowd's going to be nuts. We'll see, but I would expect them to at least get to the second round. And if they can get that 2 seed and play that game at the Link, now you're 1 win away on the road away from the Super Bowl, unless the number 1 seed loses like last year. And then you're home for the NFC Championship game and you win by 30. So I think it's too early to say what you're saying.
Yeah. Hope you're okay, Harrison.
Yeah.
From Nathan.
Get some air. Get
Yeah.
some sun.
Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year's. Summer down here in New Zealand, so it's beach time for me.
Oh, wow.
That sounds great. On the Eagles, I don't think enough has been said about the fact that this offense has looked at least competent ever since we got the report that Nick was becoming more involved in things. It's also amazing that after everything that's happened, we're going to end up with 2,000-yard receivers, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 10-plus touchdown tight end, and a quarterback with close to 40 touchdowns and fewer than 10 turnovers. This team is set up for another Super Bowl run. I love the juxtaposition.
I wonder if these two guys are friends, if they hang out. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of amazing. I was thinking about that. I mean, Devontae and AJ are both going to be over 1,000 yards. Dallas has 10 touchdowns. Jalen's numbers are fine. Like, other than that one game, which kind of
You have 5 turnovers in the game. It's gonna
doesn't help your overall season stats. But I mean, what's he got? 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions or something. He's been good more than he's been bad. And Saquon's going to end up with like 1,300 yards. He's going to have one of the highest rushing totals ever by a guy that ran for 2,000 yards the year before, which is interesting. Now, having that 17th game does devalue some of those milestones, but I do think they are trending the right way on offense. Seen some good things.
How much do you think it has to do with Nick? Well, there's no way to know for sure, but yeah, I think maybe he's helped a little bit.
Yeah, and if that's the case, why didn't he do it earlier?
Fair. He's in the building.
He is. I think
things were not going well.
He's got an office that's like 8 feet from Kevin's office.
Yeah.
I don't know, but and maybe he did. Maybe maybe he did gradually, but when they have the ball now, I kind of like I don't like hide. I don't cover my eyes. I think the last 3 weeks, and obviously the interceptions were the issue in San Diego. They moved, didn't they? With the Chargers.
A little while back.
But they did move the ball in that game. So it's really 3 weeks in a row they've moved the ball, and the last 2 they've scored off 60 points. So and they score against the Chargers? 19.
It doesn't always look great.
Yeah,
there's some bad moments in there still, but turned a little bit of a corner.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end on this one from Adam.
What's up, Adam?
I saw a tweet from Darren Rovell that said, first Super Bowl 59 player ring to come to market sold last night at Heritage Auction for $124,440. It was the ring of offensive tackle Laken Bakalehi. He did not play a single down for the team. That was the tweet from Darren. In a hypothetical situation, would you keep your Super Bowl ring that you never played a single down for the Eagles for, or sell it? I know people are in different financial situations, but this is all hypothetical. Would you leave it in a safety deposit box at your house or sell it?
Man, that's a good question.
First, hope everything's okay with Laken and
Yeah.
not hard up for the money.
That's kind of sad. I think I would keep it. You're a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. I think it would mean different things to different people.
Yeah.
Like the other guy I thought about when I was like, does Bryce Huff want that ring?
Well, he said that ring means nothing to him. I saw an interview with him. He's still stuck on 4 sacks, by the way.
Yeah.
Had that good start. He said it doesn't mean anything to him. I wonder if he went to the ring ceremony. Maybe he didn't. He was pretty clear about his year here meant nothing to him, and winning the Super Bowl meant nothing to him. He didn't play in the postseason at all, did he?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I would keep it.
Yeah. But I think there's different, in this is we're talking about a practice squad offensive tackle.
Yeah.
That is different than a guy who had a disappointing season Like this could have been a really happy, memorable year for a practice squad offensive tackle because the expectations were different. And
Sure.
if you're a practice squad player, like you've helped, you've earned that ring, like you've helped along the way. So, yeah, I don't know. I think if I was in that situation and I had, financially, I was able to not need that money, I think I would like to keep it.
What was it, 125,000?
Yeah, under that, yeah, 124.4.
Is he back in Queensland? Do you know?
I don't
Do
know.
we know where he
Yeah,
is?
a lot of money.
It is. Maybe the exchange rate's really good. Maybe in Australia.
Well, you saw Jason Kelsey lost his, so he's like, I don't want to lose it. I might as well.
He lost it?
Oh, he lost it in a vat of chili. You don't remember that?
I don't.
Yeah. Their former center, Jason Kelsey.
I'm
Okay.
aware of who he is.
Hmm.
Um, he's just maintained such a low profile since he retired. It's
Yeah.
easy to forget about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I think I would try to keep it.
Yeah.
That's the answer. If you have a question for us, eagle-eye at NBCUni.com. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, click the like button, subscribe there as well. Rube, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just sad about Lakin Vakalehi's ring. Kind of feel bad.
I mean, don't feel too bad. He sold it. He has a lot of money right now.
Yeah. I hope you invest it wisely.
All right. For Reuben Frank, I'm Dave Zangaro. This has been Eagle Eye, presented by Nissan. Back with you later in the week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. But a big game coming up on Sunday.